And I'm going to leave you as the main person, okay?
Hi everyone, it's Joe. Luann, there you go.
Hi, Joe. Thanks for joining us.
I'm just kind of here to monitor the room,
Thank you so much for your help.
and I think I am co-host, so
Okay,
I
great.
am, yes.
Thank you.
This is going from 5 to what time?
Oh, Saturday.
We don't
Okay.
know.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think, I'm guessing around 45 minutes tops, but we'll see.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Nichols College 8th Annual Elevator Speech Competition via Zoom and YouTube live video channel. I'm Ben Carboni, and I'm your Master of Ceremonies tonight. Currently, I'm a senior here at Nichols College, economics major, and last year's first place winner. Last year was tough. Good luck to these contestants. Adversity is what tests our resolve as students, adults, and human beings. I, myself, an entrepreneur running a digital marketing company and auction company. Yes, the people that speak very, very fast. I am in training myself using chants like a big brown bug, but a big brown bear, just to get the cadence down. Have found that we have to become even more creative in times like these, just as we have tonight. COVID-19 could not stop our bison from competing in this annual event, and we are proud of our bison here tonight, who will compete for cash prizes based on the delivery of their personalized elevator speeches. First, I'd like to take some time to thank some other folks who, without their support, we could not have made this event a reality. First, Joe Belanger from our IT department, who spent time assisting with all the training and planning for the use of Zoom. Dan DeRozier from our marketing department for his support in promoting the event and overseeing the live stream on YouTube. He is also our meeting host tonight on Zoom. Professors Temple and Klimovich for their assistance in planning and providing support to participants to practice. And lastly, Professors Beaupre and Westerling, who are the co-hosts for the event and in the background overseeing tonight's event. And now it's time to introduce our three judges, who without them, this event would not be a reality, as it was their idea to have it on Zoom. First, Susan Engelmeyer. Susan West Engelmeyer was appointed the 7th president of Nichols College on August 1st, 2011. Previously, Engelmeyer served as Dean of the Charlton College of Business at the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth. She has also held administrative positions at Babson College and Ithaca College. Engelmeyer holds a PhD in industrial management from Clemson University, an MBA from East Carolina University, and a BA from Stephens College. Her research has been published in the Journal of Innovative Management, Quality Management Journal, and Quality Progress, and presented both nationally and internationally. She is a board member of the Association of Independent Colleges and Universities in Massachusetts, the United Way of Webster Dudley, and second vice president of the Worcester Economic Club. Our second judge tonight is Fran Carlo. Fran Carlo is also a Nichols graduate, class of 1990. He earned his BSBA in marketing from Nichols College and his MBA from Anna Maria College. Fran is currently a co-chair of the Board of Advisors for Nichols College and the Vice President of Global Services for NICE. As Vice President, Fran Carlo has global responsibility for service and support for NICE's public safety line of business. His primary focus and expertise are driving operational and financial best practices to create better customer experiences. Fran is a parent of a current sophomore at Nichols, and we'd also love to thank him for his donation and continued support of tonight's event. Now, lastly, our third judge is Jason Sweet. 15 plus years marketing and consultative services provided to international and domestic organizations, of which many can be found on the list of Fortune 500 companies. Jason has had a successful experience with the largest global organizations down to startups and beginning stages and hypergrowth. Jason holds a dual MBA in international business and management from Clark, with his undergrad from Nichols in 2004, during which he held multiple leadership roles on campus and played on the football and lacrosse teams. Now, before we start, I'd like to give a review of the rules for the competition. Contestants, as you already know, you are allowed a 60-second speech with a 10-second window on either side. We start timing when you start talking. So feel free to take a second, take a deep breath, and collect yourself. If you're not done after 70 seconds, you will be stopped. Your speech should be delivered extemporaneously, meaning no notes, no flashcards. You are allowed one redo and or restart in the event that you feel unprepared and want to recalibrate yourself. The scoring system is much like Dancing with the Stars. You will get a score between 1 and 10, 1 being the lowest and 10 the highest. The judges will hold up a card, just like Bruno, with their score after each presentation. In the event of a tie, the judges will ask you to present again on a topic of their choice. This is terrifying, so pray it doesn't happen tonight. The lineup was done at random prior to the start of the competition. After each speech, the judges will hold up a card with their score and make a few brief comments. As a reminder, the prizes are as follow. First place is $500, second place $400, and third $300. And before we start, we'd like to review some rules with our audience. In this new Zoom environment, the rules are similar to an actual event, but with a few nuances. Please keep your microphone muted. Background noise is distracting to participants. We'd like to have an audience, and to do so, you can keep your video on. However, please be respectful and practice nonverbals that are encouraging and show interest. You also have the option to turn off your video should you be distracted or need to step away from your computer. Third, please save your applause and cheers until the judges have given their scores to each participant. You may either unmute your microphone to clap or use the reaction icons below. As a reminder, this is also being streamed live on Nichols College YouTube channel. And now it's time to get started and meet our participants. Our first participant is Mohammed Kamara.
Good afternoon. I'll mute myself. Good evening, everybody. I just want to, before I start my speech, to just let everybody imagine what my speech is about. It's gonna be like a literal elevator speech. You guys are all gonna be the character I choose. So the character I have today is Jay-Z, Mr. Carter, and I just want you guys to imagine yourself as him. And afternoon, Mr. Carter. My name is Mohammed Kamara, and I want to be a part of Rock Nation. I want to come to Rock Nation not as an artist, but as someone who could bring something to the company. And you might be asking yourself, what can I bring to you? What can I offer you? Well, here's what I have to offer. I'm a sociable person, so finding artists isn't something that's going to be fairly easy to me. I know how to make connections. It's kind of quick for me. It's 1, 2, 3. I hit off with people really fast. I take criticism very well. I'm open for it. So if you have something to say to me, that'll probably make me better and bring something else to the company that'll improve us and bring us to the next level, I'm all for it. I'm also a person that's willing to work hard. I live for my brand. It's not hard for me to reach out to other people to send the brand, make it better than what it is now. And you were me at one point. Your background a little tougher than mine, but you came basically from nothing and made a name for yourself. One quote that I have for you today is, nothing is worse than an opportunity that could have changed your life. You were me at one point, you changed your life, I hope to do the same. And that's it. Did I end it too early?
That was great, Mohammed. Judges, please show your scores. We'll start with Fran. Comments, please.
Well, Mohammed, thank you for your presentation. It's always hard to go first. I thought the approach and the concept was very unique, actually very creative. I think the couple things to take away was practice a little bit more. There was a few little bits of stutter. It's really hard to kind of give a presentation from your chair. People tend to talk with their hands, move around a little bit too much. Just watch that a little bit. But I really enjoyed what you did, and well done.
Thank you, Fran. President Engelmeyer?
I agree that it is difficult to be first. I congratulate you for doing that. You seemed calm and composed, Mohammed. You had a good cadence, and I thought you were very creative in what you did and persuasive. You just had a little bit of bumpiness at the end that you might have thought through how you wanted to close it just a little stronger. But overall, good job.
Thank you, President. Jason?
I loved the personal tone that you had in it. It was apparent that, you know, obviously Jay-Z was something that you aspired to. I love the story that you put in there. Stories sell, if you didn't know. You know, it was clear, it was compelling. I apparently am the grumpy guy on the Dancing with the Stars, but I will make sure that I'm grumpy throughout, so as not to penalize you. But Mohammed, I thought it was good. Thank you.
So you're Len Goodman.
Thank you. Thanks. There we go.
Thank you, Mohammed. Our next participant is John Fallon.
Hello, my name is John Fallon. I'm a current freshman, and here's my speech. Watching my mother struggle financially throughout my life has given me an unmatched determination to succeed. Growing up, my mother worked endlessly. I remember at one point she worked 3 jobs, and although she worked this much, she still never had enough money to build up retirement accounts. Realizing what that meant at the age of 16 truly scared me. It meant she would have to work for the rest of her life. I would not let that be a possibility, so I researched investing in personal finance and read countless books. Many of the books I read credited accounting for being the most effective skill in both business and life, because being financially literate is very important. Overall, I want to be an accountant so I can help people manage their funds effectively and plan for their futures.
Judges, scores? Great. We'll start with Jason this time.
So again, being consistent, I gave Mohammed a bit of what I thought was a good score. The eye contact was fantastic. So clearly you went through and practiced what your pitch was. The only criticism that I would say, and it's not I don't think overtly difficult, is spend more time on you. You know, you have, you know, a fantastic story. You know, pitch it. You know, we're looking to hear about you and not necessarily all about your background. We want to know what the benefits of bringing you on board are. So I'd say kudos, great job, but you know, keep it to you, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. President?
John, I think you did a great job. You seemed, if you were nervous, it wasn't apparent at all. I love that you started with a personal story because that brings it home to people. But I do agree that maybe you should have talked up just a little bit more about you and how you've developed and how you've internalized that struggle that your mother had for yourself.
Great. Thank you. Fran?
Well, John, you did a really nice job. You looked comfortable. You looked confident. I really appreciated the personal story. Your tone and cadence was spot on to kind of deliver that. My only takeaway was, and it kind of goes back to one of the things that Jason even said earlier, was to sell it a little bit more is softening a little bit of the facial features as well too. So remember, we got your head there right for us, and with that story, you definitely had us hooked. So nice job with that. Thank you.
Thank you, judges.
Great. Thank you, John. Our next participant is Sophia Prouty. Sophia will be giving her speech in honor of the Institute of Women's Leadership and their mission to fight towards equality amongst the genders.
Hi, my name is Sophia Prouty, and I am not a man. I am not a man because I have to cover up myself, but I can't be prude. I am not a man because I only make 80 cents of their dollar. I am not a man because I have to watch my drink when I go out. I am not a man because my ambition is often mistaken for me being a control freak. I am not a man because I get nervous in parking lots at night and have to check my car before I go in. I am not a man because I've only been able to vote for 100 years. I am not a man because I get shocked when I see a leader like me. I am not a man because I always have to smile and look pretty. I am not a man because I have to work twice as hard just to get a seat at the table. I am a woman because in 2020, I still face inequality daily. We must acknowledge the small and large battles that women fight every day. We also must acknowledge that change starts with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. Judges, scores?
Judges, when you speak, can you please just tell us your scores too, so the entire audience, because it's they might not have a view of it. So when you give your comments, to say your number as well. Thank you.
Okay, and we'll start with President Engelmeyer.
Sophia, wow, that's my first comment, but it was perfectly paced and very, very powerful. I loved your message and I loved your ending. And, you know, some of the statistics, 80 cents on the dollar. When I was your age, it was 60 cents on the dollar. There has been improvement, but not enough. But I thought you did a great job and you were so poised.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Thank you, President. Fran?
Sophia, wonderful job. I just for the audience, I gave you an 8, and there's only a couple of reasons why. But let me start with the good news. So that was a very, very brave topic. It could be controversial. It was definitely bold. You should be very proud of how you delivered it and what you did with the material. And very, very moving. Okay. The only couple bits that kind of took it down a point was it looked like you were looking down to almost to where like a Q was on some content a couple times. It's kind of hard when we're in a virtual environment like this, but that was you know, very, very touching. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fran. Jason?
My score was an 8. Sophia, what a hook! I think Susan Engelmeyer was spot on with that. Instantly drew me in. I thought the tone was great and appropriate. You know, with the message that you were delivering. The eye contact was fantastic. Your cadence amazing. I thought it was very good. So great job. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sophia. Our next participant is Alex Stroschein. Alex is in his 3rd year of the 3+1 program. His speech is about the principles he lives by.
I've learned that life is all about a balance between caring about others and taking care of yourself. And there's 3 things that I do to keep that balance and harmony. And the first is to be conscious of our thoughts, emotions, intentions, the way our words and actions affect others, and the way other people feel. And the second is to be courageous, to embrace change on an internal and external level, to have the courage to break the chains of fear that hold us back from sharing our gifts with the world. And lastly, to be kind enough to ourselves to choose a positive narrative in our head, to treat our bodies with love and respect, and treat others the way we want to be treated. And I found that when I strive to keep the balance between caring about others and caring about myself in harmony, I live a happier, more authentic, more purposeful life.
Thank you, Alex. Judges, score? Great. Fran, we'll start with you.
Alex, all I can say is wow. Okay. Your content was spot on and moving. Your presentation and posture and your delivery with your gestures and how you brought us through those 3 points. You had us the whole way. It was very well rehearsed. You looked very calm and confident. Your cadence and tone is spot on. There's very little I can give you for feedback besides keep up the great work.
Really appreciate it, Fran.
Thank you, Fran. Jason?
Yeah, I gave Alex there a 9. I thought again it was extremely human. So I guess when you are using some hand gestures, being someone that talks with their hands, I think it certainly brings you in. I think Fran, nailed it on, perfect tone. Your cadence was awesome. I think the practice that you put in to deliver the message was well delivered. There was no stuttering, so I'd say fantastic job. That's a great way to finish the pitch there.
Thank you, Jason. Really appreciate it.
Of course.
Thank you, Jason. President Engelmeyer?
Yes. Alex, I gave you a 9. I thought it was terrific. I'm going to be repetitive with some of the others, but it was quite engaging. And just the right blend of gestures and tone changes that you just kept me captivated the entire time. Great job.
Really thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Alex. Our next participant is Rebecca John.
It was a Tuesday morning when I saw my mom and dad watching TV in our living room. But this was unusual because both of my parents work in the hospitals, working 7 days a week in 12-hour shifts. My dad paused the show and looked directly at me, and he said, "I have symptoms of COVID-19. My heart stopped. This was my dad, my best friend since I was born, the man who taught me how to ride a bike, the man who was going to walk me down the aisle one day. This was my dad. So many thoughts flooded in my head, but instead of dwelling on them, I decided to stay motivated by going to my online classes. I decided to stay positive when my family needed it the most. And I decided to stay calm whenever I heard someone say, "I hope you and your family are staying safe." Fast forward, and my dad is standing in my doorway. He looks at me and he says, "The results came back negative. We were going to be okay. My name is Rebecca John, and when faced with the unknown, I do not fear. I persevere. Thank you."
Thank you, Rebecca. Judges, scores? All right, we'll start with Susan Engelmeyer.
Hey, Rebecca, that was very engaging and obviously very timely. You delivered it with emotion that was clear how you felt when you had heard that news. And I loved your ending, "Don't fear, persevere." That was a great way to close it off. Nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Jason?
Great job. I thought the inflection in your speech and delivery was fantastic. Again, made it seem well rehearsed and certainly personal. The pace was good. The eye contact was good. Similar to Mohammed, I would say if anything, try to get more to the pitch for you, and maybe expand on the whole. Don't fear, persevere a little bit further, but great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Fran?
Rebecca, I gave you a 9. I think you did a wonderful job. So the topic was obviously very personal. You showed great emotion. Like Jason said, your inflection and how you actually changed some things up and the gestures you use, really kind of drew us into the topic. It was very, very relevant as well, too. So very brave to kind of bring that out there. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Our next participant is Ashlyn Kelly.
Hi, I'm a freshman at Nichols College. I'm a sport management and a history major here. My dreams are to work in the NFL. So if I'm going to start my speech, it's going to be towards someone working for the Patriots. fingers crossed that someday I'll be working there as well. Growing up a crazed football fan, I always knew that this was a man's sport. It's tough, it's rough, you get concussions, broken bones, torn muscles. You wouldn't think by looking at me that I would come to manage many of these teams and ultimately fall in love with the sport. And it hasn't been the easiest road either. I remember walking into school in the 8th grade and hearing a morning announcement that the football team was looking for a manager. I knew I'd be perfect for this role. I was both eager and excited, so I walked to the coach's office and submitted my resume to start working for the Longhorns. Here, they unfortunately informed me that the role had already been filled, except the next day, walking into school, the same announcement was projected that the football team was still looking for an assistant. I was both frustrated and determined, so I walked back to the coach's office and asked for one chance, just one opportunity. Fortunately, they gave me that opportunity. Years later, and I'm still pursuing my dreams of working in professional sports. I still have that feeling of determination that I had at a mere 12 years old. But now I'm looking to learn, to grow in not just as an individual, but as a member of your organization as well. Just one chance. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashlyn. Judges, score. Great. We'll start with Susan Engelmeyer.
Wow, I loved your story. And I loved the fact that when you first were rejected, you came back and you asked for one chance. You know, I think it's very telling about who you are. Thought it was really terrific the way you went through your own story and you made it demonstrate how you have a lot of determination to make things happen. Terrific job.
I'm sorry, I didn't see the score.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, Susan, what was your score?
A 9. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Jason?
Yeah, Ashlyn, I gave you an 8. I thought it was fantastic. Equal parts story, equal parts pitch. I thought the delivery again was very personable. It seemed like you felt extremely comfortable with what you were trying to say. The eye contact I thought was good. I could tell that you weren't necessarily looking at cue cards because you were looking kind of here and there, but I tend to do that myself, so I can't really knock you on the score there. It just, again, makes you that much more relatable and human. So great job.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Jason. Fran?
Excellent. Outstanding. Obviously, you can tell from my office I'm a big sports fan too. So I gave you a 9. All right. That's Brady's, jersey's kind of retired of my Raptors here. So actually working backwards a little bit, very strong close. Okay. You felt really great with the content. The story was fantastic. You really had me drawn in. So I really wanted to see how it ended up. So where Jason was going on the eye contact, I'll actually kind of give you that because it's actually kind of part of like a neuroscience thing. You can tell this was personal and very passionate because when you kind of look off to the side or up to the top, you're drawing from experience in your past. So that really brought it in as very believable. So outstanding.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fran. And thank you, Ashlyn. Our next participant is Tara Ostromecki.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tara Ostromecki, and I'd like to introduce you to myself. I'm a student at Nicole College where I'm double majoring in marketing and finance. The reason I chose marketing is because it's something I've always loved to do and it helps me bring out my creative side. The reason I chose finance is a little different. Growing up, the youngest of 3 in a household with a single mom, money was always tight and we financially lived week to week. Being a little kid and seeing the card get declined at the grocery store really changed the way I view money and look at life. I want to help people learn about personal finance and how to manage your own money without ever having to live week to week like my mom did. I would love to set up free personal finance classes so people can learn how to support themselves without the help of others. Everything I know about personal finance has been learned through my own research and through my grandfather's advice when it comes to investing in stocks and setting up a Roth IRA account. I hope to share my knowledge with others and to help other people like my mom overcome abusive relationships and thrive both financially and mentally. Thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you, Tara. Judges, scores, please. Great, thank you. And we'll start with Susan.
Good job, Tara. I give you an 8. I really liked the way that you used your personal experience and the story around that and what you want to do, some of the things like offer personal finance. You did seem just a little bit nervous, more toward the end actually than in the beginning, but great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Jason?
Tara, I thought it was good. The content was good. I think what Susan said about the drawing from the background and the story of your past was very good with what you were looking to obviously do in the future. I thought the cadence was good. The tone could be a little bit better. Just again, maybe it's just practicing a little bit more and putting a little more personality into it. Like the inflection in the voice, I think would help with that. But great job.
Thank you.
Yep.
Jason, what was your score, please?
Oh, I gave a 7.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Jason. Fran?
Tara, I gave you an 8. I thought it was really well done. So very similar to what Susan and Jason said. So the personal story, the content was very moving and brave to kind of share some of the background there. To Jason's point, your tone change, if you could have just brought that in a little bit more emotion to kind of bring the passion out of why you shared this with us, would have hooked us a little bit more and probably would have raised your score a little bit. But you definitely were well rehearsed and knew your content, so nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tara, and thank you, Fran. Our next participant is Nicole Bertiel.
Imagine you had to sacrifice your childhood to be the backbone for your family. Raised in a home with a special needs sister with physical and developmental disabilities, and an overwhelmed single mother. Nothing stable or consistent, like your mother's marriages, your address, your friendships, and your hobbies. This has been my life. I had to mature quickly and learn to place my family's needs before my own, to humble myself, and sacrifice many opportunities to help my mom. I had to sacrifice opportunities like extracurriculars living on campus because they were inconvenient for me. But I wouldn't change anything because it got me to where I am today. As a Hispanic first-generation college student, graduating from the 4+1 master's program would be a grand victory for us. Financial freedom is something my family has never experienced, so I aspire to achieve it. I believe that the measure you give is the measure you receive. I, Nicole, constantly remind myself of the following stuff. I thank God for the trials and the, can I start over?
Yes, absolutely, you may. Yep.
Imagine you had to sacrifice your childhood to be the backbone for your family. Raised in a home with a special needs sister with physical and developmental disabilities, and an overwhelmed single mother. Nothing stable or consistent. Your address, your mother's marriages, your friendships, your hobbies. This has been my life. I had to mature quickly and learn to place my family's needs before my own, to humble myself, and sacrifice many opportunities to help my mom. Those luxuries were inconvenient for me, such as extracurriculars and living on campus, but I wouldn't change anything because it got me to where I am today. As a Hispanic first-generation college student, graduating from the 4+1 master's program would be a grand victory for us. Financial freedom is something my family has never experienced, so I aspire to achieve it. I believe that the measure you give is the measure you receive. I, Nicole, constantly remind myself of the following. Be grateful to God both in the trials and the triumphs. Be resilient, be patient, and you will be rewarded. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Judges, scores, please. Thank you. And we'll start with Susan.
And Nicole, I gave you a 6, but I do want to credit you. It's a very brave story, talking about your own personal experience and some of the challenges that you've overcome. Obviously, your nervousness came through on both tries, but I really credit you for doing this. I think you did a great job. And gee whiz, you're only a first-year student, so you have 3 more years to pull this off.
Thank you, Susan. Jason?
Sorry, I was on mute. Kids coming through the office. I thought, Nicole, I thought the story was very touching. I loved the points at the end about obviously being resilient, and it was clear, obviously with rebooting the pitch that you certainly are. The fact that you have a couple of more years to do this, I hope I come back and am able to judge again, because I firmly believe that you will do significantly better and potentially even put some of the other people behind you and come out on top. But great job, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, Jason. Fran?
So Nicole, I actually gave you an 8. And the reason I gave you that is that I probably would have scored you a little bit lower if it was on the first try, but you were brave enough and smart enough to kind of stop yourself, and you rebooted, and you definitely recovered in a lot of areas. So well done there. That takes a lot to kind of do that. But the content and actually the presentation was very brave, very emotional sort of content. The only thing I would have done is, since it's very close to you and close-knit, it was a little bit more inflection in your tone and a little bit more passion behind kind of the why of the story. I think you would have done really, really well with everybody.
Thank you, judges.
Benjamin, can I just make one more, just have one more comment for Nicole?
Absolutely.
Having given a multitude of speeches in my past, the one bit of advice that I will give to you, and this isn't even just having to do with speeches or just public speaking in general, nobody knows what you're going to say next. Only you know where you want to go. So if there is a fumble or you lose a train of thought, it's okay. Just keep going forward and try to tie back and get back on track. But again, great job.
Thank you, Jason. And thank you, Nicole. Our next participant is Julia Carroll.
Thank you, Ben. From a very young age, I learned that I didn't like the word no. My parents had definitely thought that I'd hit the terrible 2s at 18 months. Growing up, my parents would call me hard-headed, one-track minded, and as I got into grade school, the B word showed up a little bit more. But I've turned that into adjectives like driven, hardworking, and determined. When I was older, I'd be doing the dishes with my grandma, and I was the kind of kid that wanted to get them done as fast as I possibly could so that I could get back outside and play with my friends. And every time I didn't do them just quite right, she'd drag me back inside, sit me down, and look at me and say, "Julia, anything worth doing is worth doing right." And that's something that I carry with me every day, whether that be in the classroom, on the sports field, on the ice, or even out in the workforce. I'm a very hard worker. I like to see things through to the end, and I don't give up on things until they're done. So, long story short, you might find someone who's just as qualified as I am, but I can promise you that you will never find someone who's going to work as hard as me.
Thank you, Julia. Judges, scores. Great. And we'll start with Susan.
All righty. Great job, Julia. I scored you an 8. I think it was very well paced, and I can visualize grandma. I don't know exactly what she looks like, but I can visualize a grandma giving advice, and I thought it showed your determination and your willingness to listen to feedback. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jason?
Julie, I thought that was fantastic. I gave you a 9 there. Great hook. I thought the equal parts story and pitch about yourself was spot on. Your cadence was good. Your inflection was good, along with the tone. The eye contact was great. So great job.
Thank you.
Yep.
And Fran?
Julia, fantastic. I really enjoyed what you did there, and I gave you an 8 as well. Starting from the end, I think you had a really, really strong close. So the story part was kind of kept us intrigued, because I think all of us can think back to when we were kids or now as parents, kind of knowing where you're going with that or not going with that really had me. Your tone and your tempo was fantastic, and your facial expressions kind of kept me drawn in the whole way. I almost wish that I would have seen you kind of in full standing mode, because I think you would have just pulled us all in even a little bit further. That was the one thing that kind of kept you from that next level with me, but outstanding.
Thank you, judges.
And thank you, Julia. Our next participant is Ryan O'Connell.
Hi, sorry to bother you, but you're James Dolan, right? Owner of the New York Knicks? Well, my name's Ryan O'Connell. Nice to meet you. I recently applied for an internship with the team just the other day. I'm currently finishing up my first year at Nichols College, where I'm majoring in sport management. So, what can I bring to your organization? Well, being born and raised in New York, I'm the quintessential Knicks fan. Not many people know that the Knicks were the first NBA team to sign non-white players to the league. First, the Japanese player, followed by Sweetwater Clifton, the first African-American player to play in the NBA. But you need more than a super fan. You need someone who knows how to connect with fans. As a student athlete, I know firsthand how important it is for fans to believe and support the team. My marketing class has shown me the importance of brand loyalty and maintaining a positive social media presence. My past experience working at Gillette Stadium has taught me the importance of customer service, handling stressful situations, and being the ultimate problem solver. Well, here's my card. Hopefully we can follow up soon.
Thank you, Ryan. Judges, scores. Great. And we'll start with Susan.
Ryan, I thought that was fantastic from the opening. The only thing is you're asking a job of the Knicks and you have the Yankees behind you. I realize same city, but no, I really thought it was good. And what I liked best is what I usually tell people if you're trying to pitch yourself or go for an interview, always use a for example. And you had plenty of for examples. Here's what you bring to the table. And I like what you talked about with the players for the Knicks, some of the statistics or interesting factoids that shows that you really know them and you weren't just trying to, bluff your way through something. I thought it was very effective. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Susan, could you tell us the score, please?
A 9.
Thank you.
Great. And Jason?
I gave Ryan an 8 on that. I thought, again, it was very good, well rehearsed. Seemed like you felt pretty comfortable. I think Fran had mentioned previously for Julia, it would have been really great if you had been standing up. You have well, I'm a New England fan, so I'd say if I was a Yankees fan or a Mets fan, it'd be a fantastic background. But I thought the history tidbits that Susan mentioned were fantastic, showing that you really did your homework. And I think the personality really showed through in your tone and your cadence. So great job.
Thank you.
And Fran?
So Ryan, I'm going to give you 2 different scores. So I'm going to go to the skating a little bit. So the 8 was more of the technical score, and the 1's my emotional score since I'm absolutely not a Yankee fan. But you're brave to have that in the background. But no, seriously, really, really good pitch. Your story was great. Your examples were fantastic, which you heard from the other judges. Just 2 little things to kind of take away is you felt a little bit rushed. There's a lot of great content in there, and it just kind of felt like you were trying to jam a lot into 70 seconds. So in a real life situation, you may not be that limited, but I think you did a wonderful job. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Our next participant is Zoe Adams.
Before I begin, I just want to thank you all for still running this competition and to all the participants who are making this possible. You've all done a great job so far, guys. My greatest weakness is that I have not had to face the same hardships that so many others have. My life has been privileged simply because I was born into a stable, supportive, and financially sound family. But what I don't share in the struggle, I do share in the drive. My parents taught me to work hard and to try my best, but everything else I accomplished myself. My grades were bought only with 110% effort, and my achievements come from the inherent drive within me. I find it hard to sit idle because my self-determination and personal standards tell me I can always be doing more. It's true that I was provided with the possibility to succeed, and I am grateful every day for what I had and what I have. But I was the one who worked to make my name mean something. I'm Zoe Adams, and I have not let privilege or content be an excuse to work less. Thank you.
Thank you, Zoe. Judges, scores, please. Great. And we'll start with Susan.
Great job, Zoe. You were extremely poised. You seemed like if you were nervous, there was not even an inkling of any of that. I thought it was great pacing, and I liked your opening because it drew us in. Most people don't even want to talk about their weaknesses, whatever they may be, so that was good. I would have just liked just a little more content, a little more examples that proved some of the things, the points that you were making, but it was very, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Susan, sorry, could you give us your score, please?
A 9.
Thank you.
And now to Jason.
Zoe, I gave you an 8 on that. I thought it was, like Susan said, a great intro. Perfect interview weakness question and answer, by the way, there. I thought the close was fantastic as well. I would have liked a little bit, a couple more examples around the statements that you were making as to why those were valid. Again, it creates a little bit more of kind of a truth to what you're saying, as opposed to just a sales pitch, if you will. But I thought the cadence was fantastic, the pose and posture fantastic, and the inflection, and again, kind of the personality with the hand movements was great as well. Great job.
Thank you.
And Fran.
Zoe, outstanding. I'm gonna actually piggyback on everything that Susan and Jason said as well too. So your story was very well received. I connected with it. Brave taking that approach with that storyline. So I applaud you with that sort of topic. Great use of your hands and your gestures. It made it very personal, and it kind of drew me in even more. Very well rehearsed. And I think the only thing is on the feedback everyone's given you is with regards to a little bit more examples is, don't apologize for being, young and the experience level you have. Draw it in. You use it as an asset. Okay. But well done.
Thank you all.
And thank you, Zoe. Our next participant is Hannah Vangel.
Thank you, Ben. How often do you think about how you think? How often do you think about the effects of how you think? I've always been a firm believer in the power of positive thinking. The idea that how we look at something will affect how we act. One way that I maintain positive thinking is by upholding a growth mindset. A growth mindset hinges on the idea that intelligence and ability can be developed over time, rather than the idea that intelligence and ability are fixed. By maintaining a growth mindset, you open yourself up to new possibilities and become more flexible in your thinking. A growth mindset helps you achieve more because you believe you can, and it helps you see the best in yourself. I was terrified of coming up here today. I didn't want to fail, but growth mindset reminded me that it's the experience that makes things worthwhile and the fear of failure that holds us back. So I implore you, try something new. Be brave, be ambitious, be creative, and take the time to think about how you think.
Thank you, Hannah. Judges, scores, please. Great. And we'll start with Susan.
Hannah, I give you a score of 9. I loved the way you kind of paused in the beginning and composed yourself, and it was a great topic that was a way for people to learn. And I thought you had some good pieces of information, and it was quite persuasive. Thank you.
And Jason.
Susan, you took my way to collect yourself at the beginning. That was fantastic. the topic, growth mindset, being someone that has read the book and had my wife read the book and have mentioned a number of other coworkers read the book. Fantastic topic, especially right now as everything is certainly changing and nothing is the same than it was, a couple of months ago. I thought your personality shone through fantastic. The use of inflection in your voice, facial changes, I thought was great. And again, use of your hands made it super relevant and personable, which just drew me in that much further. So great job overall, and you shouldn't be worried about public speaking at all. You did fantastic. Good job.
Thank you.
Yep.
Jason, could you tell us your score,
Oh,
please?
I gave her a 9.
Thank you.
Fran, you're up.
All right, Hannah, I gave you a 10. So let me start off what Jason kind of finished. So basically, you delivered that like a pro, almost like you are on your own YouTube channel and you're out doing this every day. So very, very natural and very, very comfortable. So you seemed well rehearsed. Your delivery, your content, your pace, your gestures really kind of sold the story. And even though the content itself was, very useful and inspirational, the way you delivered it wouldn't have really mattered. So I would say very, very well done. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Ben, if I could just again interject again, I must be like the rebounder here.
Okay.
The one piece that I do want to call out, Hannah, is you did stumble in the middle. And I think one of the big differentiators, that you were able to do is, again, not just collect yourself at the beginning, but collect yourself in the middle and recompose your composure pretty quickly and sufficiently. So great job.
Thank
there.
you so much.
Yep.
Thank you, Hannah. Our next participant is Rudy Perez.
Oh no, Rudy, we can't.
Rudy,
hear
you're muted. You're muted.
Your confidence was amazing, though.
Yeah, you had it. Take your time to compose yourself. We can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry
Take a breath, compose yourself. You're okay.
All right, sorry.
No worries. No worries.
The concept of a drive is an interesting thing. It is the reason why we do the things we do. We all have many motivations that drive us. For me, there's a lot of factors that drive me to be who I am today. For starters, my number one drive is my goals. Sorry, I need to redo that again.
Go ahead. Take a deep breath. You're okay. You're okay.
All right. Sorry. The concept of a drive is an interesting thing. It is the reason why we do the things we do. We all have many motivations that drive us to be who we are. For starters, my number one drive is my goals. I want to be able to achieve my goals through hard work and dedication. So when I think about giving up, I look back at the reason why I'm working hard, and that right there pushes me to work 10 times harder. Another drive of mine is a desire to beat statistics. According to the Pew Research Center, only 1 out of 4 Latinos have a college degree. So I will work twice as hard if I have to, but finishing my education is a must. My most important drive is making my loved ones proud. My loved ones have provided me with the support that I need to excel in life. So when I think about giving up, I look back and think about how they would feel. The power of love is a never-ending source of energy that continues to power my drive to achieve all of my goals. So what should you take away from this speech? Understand your drive and your purpose. Knowing what makes you will allow you to control your future. Thank you.
Thank you, Rudy. Judges, scores, please. Great. And we'll start with Susan again.
Okay, Rudy, good job. I gave you a score of an 8. I like the way that you composed yourself and came back the second time. You had great facial expression and eye contact and a very nice summary at the end too. The only thing I would tell you to think about is it was a little fast paced. So maybe just, kind of slow your cadence down a bit so people can better absorb what you're saying.
Great. And Jason?
I would say, again, echoing what Susan said, great story slash content. Maybe too much of great story and content. Perhaps, in prep next time, kind of go through with a fine tooth comb and see if there's anything that could potentially pull out that isn't as powerful as the other statements. I thought the eye contact and the facial, manipulation was fantastic. It was super personable. And again, regaining your composure was fantastic. I'm sure there were a little bit of nerves there, but you did a good job. And I gave you an 8 there.
And Fran?
So Rudy, I gave you a 7. I think the content was great. The story was very moving. You obviously had some great statistics in there, and you delivered with passion. What I think you got to look at, and Susan and Jason both mentioned it, is you really rushed up front. Outside of the stumbling, I think that was probably your nerves still kind of hanging in there, but you did finish really, really strong. So I would just say, rehearse a little bit more, kind of get some of those nerves away, because the story really came through, and a nice job there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rudy. Our next participant is McKenzie Doran.
My whole life, I've dreamed of being a collegiate field hockey player. I remember going to games as a kid and saying, that's going to be me one day. Although this dream did not come easy. My sophomore year of high school, I tore my ACL, leaving me unable to play my entire junior season, which is prime time for college recruiting. I didn't let this devastating setback define me. I faced right through it. Oh, sorry, can I start over? Sorry.
Yeah, take a deep breath, take your time.
My whole life, I've dreamed of playing collegiate field hockey. I remember being a kid and going to games and saying that's going to be me one day. Although this dream did not come easy. My sophomore year of high school, I tore my ACL, leaving me unable to play my entire junior season, which is prime time for college recruiting. I didn't let this devastating setback define me. I powered right through it. I learned the game from a new perspective and showed up for my team every practicing game because I knew I still had a role to fill. My senior year, I came back stronger than ever, earning first team All-State, the Female Excellence in Comeback Awards, MVP, and a spot on the New Hampshire versus Vermont Twin State team made up of the 20 best players from each state. I learned so much through this experience and believe it has made me overcome any obstacle that comes my way. I am someone who doesn't give up when the going gets tough. My name is McKenzie Duran, and I am a fighter. Thank you.
Thank you, McKenzie. Judges, scores, please. Great. And Susan, we'll start with you.
McKenzie, I gave you a perfect 10. I thought it was terrific because after the first stop, you composed yourself and came back, but it was a fantastic story about really overcoming adversity and not giving up, being there for your team and showing how much it really mattered. And I know you carried that through to what you're doing at Nichols. That was really great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jason, go for it.
McKenzie, I give you an 8. A great close. I loved that. I thought, again, as Susan mentioned, you did a phenomenal job collecting yourself and really backing up your story of overcoming adversity. I thought that was great. Your delivery, I think, was extremely personable. It seems like it was well rehearsed. The inflection, the use of hands and body language was great. And I thought the story, along with the bragging, was amazing. So good job of interweaving those throughout the course of the pitch. Great job.
Thank you.
Yep.
Fran, you're next.
McKenzie, I gave you a 9. So I really enjoyed the story, and you deliver with great content. You recovered well after your first start. You paused at the right times. Your inflection and tone in your voice kind of showed passion. It was very personable. And even though you took us to where the plateau of a story was, which is the ACL and the concern about kind of the recruiting, and then you brought us back to the backside of the story with the comeback, and then obviously the accolades to kind of back that up. So very, very well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, McKenzie. Our next participant is Joseph Buffoni.
Hello, everyone. To the class of 2020, I know this is a hard time for everybody, including yourself. All dreams you've had about a senior prom, a senior class trip, graduation, and all other fun activities planned for the end of the year. I know this sadness saddens everyone who is watching you grow and work your whole life to get to this moment, just to have it ripped out from underneath you. Class of 2020, this is your year. Make it your year. Do not give up. Years from now, this might just be the new normal. You are the inaugural class of online learning. You are the class who lost it all but did not give up. You are the class that will never be forgotten. It's time to strap on your thinking caps and get to work. Work around the obstacles. Work for what you want. Will you stand up to the challenge or let the unpredictable bully ruin it for you?
Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you.
Judges, scores, please. Susan?
All righty, Joseph. Great message. It was interesting what you chose because it's very timely right now. My only comment is that if you could show a little more emotion or facial expression or something. I thought the story was good, but it didn't come across quite as effectively. But it was well paced, and obviously you thought about very carefully what you wanted to convey.
Jason, you're up.
Oh, Susan, can you tell us your score, please?
An 8.
Joe, I gave you a 7 on that. I thought, again, as Susan mentioned, that the story was good. I thought the pace that you delivered it was good. I think the voice inflection was pretty good. Again, kind of mapping up with what Susan said, I felt like there could have been a little bit more personality to it, whether it's, kind of using a little bit more body movement would have been better. And maybe a little bit more energy, but again, that I think story was extremely timely, and you delivered it with conviction. So great job.
Fran?
Hey, Joseph, nice job there. I think the topic was very relevant and timely, like Jason just said. I really enjoyed your close. You brought it home. You showed passion. To Susan's point early on is you were a little bit missing some excitement and more tone in what you were trying to do. And I would think just bring that little bit more personality into there early on and bring it through. But I think it could have been nerves or it could have been on purpose, but it's just the way it ended up. I think you strongly closed that for us. So nice job.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Joseph. Let's have another round of applause for all of our participants. Please unmute your mics or use a reaction.
All right, great job, guys. Great job. Outstanding. Outstanding.
Thank you, everyone. Our judges will now go into a breakout room to finalize the results. While we wait for their return, let's hear from our participants in the audience. So I would like to go around when I call on each participant's name to give a one-word answer on how you think this went tonight on Zoom. So we'll start with the first one. Mohammed?
Great.
Thank you. John?
Good.
Sophia?
It went really well.
Alex?
Swimmingly.
Rebecca?
Great.
Nicole,
Great.
Julia,
Outstanding.
Ryan,
Magnificent.
Zoe,
Smooth.
Hannah,
Terrific.
Rudy,
Right, Hannah.
Good.
McKenzie,
Great.
and Joseph.
Glad to be a part of it. It was amazing.
Awesome. So this is a question for our audience. Any of you can take it. So dealing with COVID, 19 and all of us being students at Nichols College, me being a senior, what's your advice to us or to other students maybe that are tuning in the midst of the crisis? What can we do? Things to keep us, busy or just on the lookout for jobs or next year, anything really. Anyone can take it away.
Take the time to, oh, sorry, who can't, I was gonna say, take the time to check off some of the boxes that you've been putting off. All those things that you have on your to-do list that you've always said, oh, I'll do that later. Now is the perfect time to get that stuff done.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, I would agree with Zoe that, there's always an opportunity in situations like this. And you can't pursue that opportunity every day, every second, but look for it. What's your chance to develop something as you try to deal with the rest of life's challenges?
Absolutely. Thank you, Maura.
I would just say perspective, keep perspective. Of course, set goals for yourself. And please know, a shout out to Team CPDC. We're here completely to help you and support you however we can. But take good care of yourselves and make sure that you remember that what's happening is outside of your control, and you can certainly apply for jobs and people will get hired. It's going to take a bit longer than usual. So don't beat yourself up over that and enjoy life's moments.
Yeah, and going with that, I think patience is definitely key. For me being a senior, I thought life was going to start very, very soon, and now it's been postponed. So, I have to be patient in every day, every moment, and just be grateful for where I am. So, yeah.
I'd like to speak to Joe's presentation, his message to the seniors. What's happening now comprises 2 or 3 months out of your entire academic career. And I just want you all to remember that the 4 years that you've invested in your education at Nichols College will never go away. Your accomplishments belong to you, and you will be able to use your degree to find employment when this is all passed. So while there are some losses on the immediate horizon, in the long run, you're developing patience and talents and skills through this whole digital experience that will be very useful to you going forward.
I would suggest thinking about people in your life that have helped you get to where you are, and picking up the phone or sending a text or sending an email and just check in with them and show them your appreciation, particularly if these people are more elderly, like grandparents. And on the other side of it, I would be proactive. You've worked hard, and seeing all of you tonight, I'm very proud to be a Nichols alumni and a Nichols trustee, and continue to be proactive. Believe it or not, people are still hiring. People are doing Zoom interviews, and just go for it. And thank you to all of you.
Thank you, Jim. I had to step away for a moment just to get the results from the judges. Please take this time to yourselves, write down who you thought won the competition, and I'll be back shortly. Thank you. Hi, everyone. The judges have made the decisions. It is now my pleasure to announce this year's winner of the 8th annual elevator speech competition. The judges had a hard job, and we thank them again for their time and participation. Now, after I announce each winner, I'd like for them to say a few brief words. To start, in third place, the $300 goes to McKenzie Duran, class of 2023 and a management major.
Thank you, everyone. Especially thank you to the judges and everyone that participated tonight. I thought everyone did a great job, and thank you.
Thank you so much. And with all this coronavirus going on, we have an unprecedented tie for first place between Alex Stroshine and Hannah Vangel. Alex, could you go first?
Just want to say thank you to everybody that has helped put this on. I want to say thank you to my parents and anyone that has helped me practice the speech and given me advice. And lastly, honestly, I think we're all winners. Everybody that had the courage to come out here and be vulnerable and talk about yourself. I'm a huge believer in you get out of something what you put into it. And I think that's what we'll all walk away with here. I had a great time watching everybody speak. So thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Alex, and congratulations. Hannah?
I would just like to say a really big thank you to Nichols College as a whole. I'm a recent transfer student and transferring in my senior year. I was very worried about being able to connect with a new university and being able to feel at home, but this campus has made me feel so welcome and has made me feel strong enough that I can do these types of things, that I can participate in speech competitions and things like that. So more than anything, I would just like to thank Nichols campus for giving me, you know, this confidence and this ability and this opportunity.
Thank you, Hannah, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. Let's have another round of applause for all the participants and judges. Please unmute your mics or use a reaction, clap, cheer, anything.
Great job, guys. Great job.
Good work, everyone. Really awesome.
Awesome. Great job. Woo-hoo.
Great job, everyone. And I'm Ben Carboni, and it's been a pleasure to orchestrate the Zoom experience tonight, witness all of these incredible contestants adapt quickly in this environment, and also be a part of this event in my last few weeks of my Nichols College experience. Be well, stay healthy, and remember the next time you get in an elevator, stay 6 feet apart. Thank you so much.
That's great.
Right after leaving.